Victory for West Coast would put the Eagles into their second ever pre-season grand final. St Kilda fielded a full-strength team following last week's ad hoc inter-club clash at waterlogged Wangaratta. Mid-30 temperatures forced officials to invoke the heat rule, with quarters reduced to 12.5 minutes each. An early scare for the Saints, unable to get out of each other's way.
Bang into his own man, and they're both hurt, McAvoy and Revolt.
Adam Schneider kicked the opening goal for St Kilda before Matt Rosa spun around a congested goal square to respond.
Gets the boot on ball and kicks the goal.
Just before the break, the Eagles gained the upper hand when Dean Cox sent a crooked kick that bounced their way.
Marston gives it up. Splendid work. Kerr to finish it off. Kicked the winner against Port Adelaide a week ago. And that was a superb finish as well. 66
goals for Western Bulldogs. Josh Hill joined the Eagles and he showed what he can do in the absence of injured star Mark Lacroix.
They lead by 22.
St Kilda ended the Eagles' 4-goal flurry with 2 goals in 2 minutes. Reece Stanley at the end of one build-up before a bench player made an instant impact.
Snap by Ledger, just off the sub-bench, and nailed it for 6.
At half-time, West Coast 4-8-32, St Kilda 3-5-23. The Saints returned for the second half 3 minutes after West Coast. But Cox increased the margin soon after the resumption.
Cox can kick a goal.
Eric McKenzie's attempt to spoil Stanley's kick left him poleaxed.
He's got Kaczynski long, that is a splendid smother. He's knocked him out. He's down McKenzie and knocked out.
That's unbelievable.
I have never seen that before. Bang. Oh, yeah. He's limp now.
Yeah, he's out.
Yeah.
His night was over. Nick Natanui showed his desire to build on last year's efforts.
Floats it up a little. Natanui from 3 deep. And on the run.
Kobe Stevens produced a beauty from the boundary to open a 3-goal margin, while Cox offered the Eagles midfield good target practice.
Yeah, beauty. How good a mark was that?
West Coast dominated the third quarter and Daniel Kerr provided the space for Patrick McGinnity.
Off one step, pops it through.
Jack Darling's super goal sent the Eagles to the final change, holding a 42-point lead.
Look out, he might bang it for 9 from outside 50. Awesome.
Stephen Milnes snapped the Saints into action in the final term. Aaron Sipos made sure of a 6-pointer that almost left the local with an unwanted reminder.
Oh, on the top of the scone. Florid. Lucky because she had a set of glasses on and that would have hurt.
Lee Montagna added a little more respectability to St Kilda's score. Natanui pressed on with the aerial acrobatics.
Oh boy! Another big one for the highlights reel.
The Eagles through to face Adelaide in the grand final next Saturday night at Amy Stadium. Full-time West Coast 110-16-85, St Kilda 7-10-52. Charles Christian, Big Pond Sport.
Well, it's probably my reaction is around the performance tonight. I thought it was really impressive across a lot of areas. That's what we're looking at measuring tonight. The fact that players have earned the opportunity to play in a NAB Cup Grand Final is excellent, but yeah, tonight's more about just what we aim to get out of the game, and we're really pleased with that.
How do you approach the week? How do you try and embrace the excitement of it, or does it feel a bit fake to you? Or
No, we've got to basically get everything right. We've got to get our preparation right for the players we want to play this week. There's some players that might be playing their first game for the pre-season this week, and parts of the games. There's all those sort of issues we've got to take into account this week.
How do you feel about having to travel instead of...
Oh, we knew we were going to have to travel this week anyway. From the start, when the fixtures came out, we were down to travel in the 4th week of the NAB Cup, so we've been ready for that.
Who are you likely to get back next week?
Embley, maybe Shuey, maybe Kennedy. Who's the other ones? Still waiting on. Well, Glass will be right to play. He was just having a breather. No, not Lynch. Maybe Gaff. So, yeah, those guys. Good. Yeah, from all accounts, he was only either, I'm not sure what you call it, but dazed for a couple of seconds. And but the medicos just basically wanted to check him out, so they kept him on the ground. And he looked all right in the team meeting after the game. I haven't spoken to him yet.
Seen that happen before?
I reckon it's happened before, yeah, but I can't remember who it was. I don't know if it was our game, but yeah, it was pretty flush, full-on hit. But I think the good thing is that a footy hitting you like that is a lot better than maybe the whiplash onto the ground, or obviously a actual head clash or with a body, something like that. So the footy would be my preferred choice if you needed one.
Were you fearful initially? It looked pretty bad.
No, it's just one of those ones that you grimace at. You know, like when a cricketer plays it one straight and misses it and it hits him in the midriff. We all wince.
And you'll see how he is sort of for next week? Or?
Yeah, my expectation is that he'll be fine. The word was he didn't show any of the signs of concussion. So, yeah, just...
What did you like best about the team's performance?
Probably the even performance. You know, it was about giving a lot of guys opportunities and keeping the ground time that we wanted to get into Rosa and Kerr and Selwood again. So the way all the boys who came in for their first hit outs, Waters and Nat Nui and those boys, I thought they all looked sharp. So it shows our training program's been really good for them, and it also gives us confidence that if Kennedy and Shuey don't play again this pre-season, or Lynch, that we're really confident they'll come in and play well in the first game of the season as well.
You were 8 to 9, probably off what we would think is your best 22. They were reasonably close to theirs because obviously they missed the week and they need the minutes into their players to handle them as comfortably as you did.
Well, yeah, I think all of the things that we challenged, in the second half, Jerick Whedon, you know, coming on as still a young player, really impressive the way he went. But overall, I thought the Saints, they had a good team in, and to match them the way we did tonight was impressive by the group.
Hill and Wheaton, how did you rate them, given that people are looking for the
Yeah, no, they were both good. Hill ended up playing back a little bit when Mackenzie was out injured, and obviously Shepherd was earlier on too. So, but I thought early in the game he looked really lively up forward, which was great. So those two guys, we've got Ashton Hams as well, who's probably a big chance to play next week, and they've all been really good.
What did you make of Nat Nui's first outing for the season?
Yeah, he didn't look too rusty. Looked like he had his timing right. So all that practice on the basketball court paid off.
What did he make of all the hype this week over the same day?
No idea. I didn't know there was that much hype about it.
How about Dean Cox forward tonight, John? How do you assess that?
Coxie's a talented player. He's going to really always be a threat for us in the ruck or when he's forward.
Does that, I guess, Nick's form tonight, does that allow you to play Cox a bit more forward?
Well, yeah, we've got the option. You know, depending on who we're playing and how the game's going, those guys will interchange a fair bit, whether they spend a bit more time forward or a bit more time in the ruck. So it won't always be a 50-50 split. It'll be around what the team requires on any given game.
Has Cox, it's a big thing to say given he's All-Australian, but has he actually gotten better, do you think, the last 2 years? Contested size of his game, contested marking in particular?
That's probably one area where I think he's more consistent. Yeah, I think when he's in a contested marking situation now, whether it's forward or back, although he did drop a couple of what we'd call sitters tonight, but his contested marking, is very sound. It gives us a lot of faith that he's going to hold up for us.
Are you confident the side you'll put out next week can win in the grand final?
We're confident the side we put out next week will, play with great intensity. That's what we challenge them to do, and we like to win every game we play, so that will be the aim.
You mentioned Shepherd's ankle. How bad is it?
Not too bad. No, he came into this game. He tweaked it last week, and I think that someone either just stood on it or something early in the game, so it just flared up a bit. So we just took the precautionary reaction with him.
What about your young players like Brennan, those sorts of players? How did you rate them?
Yeah, I thought they were very exciting. Even Wilson early, Brennan throughout the game. They're all coming along really well.
Do you view them as a chance to play in round one?
Absolutely, yeah. We've got a big job ahead to get the right balance of the team going into round one. So we need all players up and going and saying we're ready to make us a better team in every game we play.
Has your depth improved on what you've seen over the pre-season?
Well, it's developing. I think we talk about our depth is obviously the first year players. They're still going to be a little bit off, but in saying that, Fraser McInnes has shown a fair bit for us. But the other guys that are now going into, especially the guys going to the third or fourth years, are really coming along well. So Whedon's one of those, Swift, Kobe Stevens, really Louis Stevenson, Brennan, all those guys are making us a stronger squad.
Would you have been surprised if a month ago you'd been told you'd go through unbeaten to the final?
I don't really plan that far ahead, no. So I think I've said it before, I don't get surprised by too much.
John, it sounds like you're confident those you described as maybes for next weekend will all, barring any mishaps, be fit for round one. Should we
Yep. Yeah, still really confident they'll all be right for round one.
Oh, look, it was a start for us. Obviously, a number of areas to still improve. We're desperately in need of getting some match conditioning in. I think that showed. Probably, weren't as clean around the contest as we would have liked. We were outrun between the arcs tonight by a side that looked a little bit more match conditioned. But it was a start for us, and we really needed it to assess where we're at. So there's a reality to the performance, and the reality is we need to improve.
Given you've effectively lost the week, how do you approach next week now?
Yeah, look, we still need another solid hit out. I mean, really, that felt like a first game of pre-season for us tonight. And for many of them in NAB round one, they played, most of our players probably played 35 to 40 minutes. So they played one of those games. So it had the feel of, getting some rust off, blowing out some cobwebs, I guess. But it means that we'll assess our performance, and we'll look for improvement again next week, and hopefully what'll be another tough contest wherever and whoever that's against.
Do you basically pin what will be your round one team if you were playing that next week and give them as many minutes as possible? The way you approach it?
Oh, look, I think you start to funnel down. There's no doubt you start to look at probably a 23 to 25 that are in contention for round one. So again, we had look, a guy like Tom Simpkin did his chances no harm tonight under a fair degree of pressure. So there were some players that still elevated, I guess, their standing within the group. And we'll have 25, 26, I guess, that play next week that really have another chance to push for round one selection.
What about Cripps? What did you think of Cripps' performance tonight?
Look, I thought there were some good parts to his game. Probably highlighted why a young player needs conditioning. He probably cramped 2 or 3 times over the last quarter and a half, and that's why you need to play. You need to play games, and you need to play full games. There's no point getting to round one and being completely gassed out in 2.5 quarters. So, look, it's why the conditioning element of pre-season and tonight was really critical for us.
Is there any concern, Scott, you can't catch up that conditioning between now and round one?
We put a lot of faith in our sports science department to make sure that we do. Can we replace a hit out against opposition last week? We can't. We're not going to dwell on that. We've got really another sort of 2.5, 3 weeks to prepare for a game, and we'll be ready to go.
With your key ball winners, Del Santo, Hayes, Montana, what was your approach with them tonight, getting the minutes into them?
Yeah, well, they're players that we probably did leave out there longer tonight. Again, if you don't have midfield capacity and midfield run, then you're going to be under pressure, and we want to make sure that some of our key midfielders, they got some really good work into them tonight. So without the rotations, I guess that put them under more pressure, which is good. That'll prepare those three or four that you mentioned well for round one.
You pleased with Hayes tonight?
Yeah, look, the expectations on Lenny are continue to build his training load, which he's done really well since November. He's just getting a little bit better every week. He's sort of regaining his touch. It takes time. I would imagine coming off a serious injury like that probably takes 5 or 6 weeks before you turn up to a game and don't think about the injury. So he's progressing really well. He's improving every week. Can't question anything about the way that he prepares. So he's going well.
Rewalt appeared to be
Yeah, no, we probably pushed him pretty hard in the 3 quarters that he played. Again, it's probably difficult to rotate players a hell of a lot when you've got 2 opportunities to rotate. So we used the first 3 quarters to really put him under a fair bit of duress. So at times, was he starting to flag? Yeah, probably. But in a normal game where it would be 3-1, there'd be more opportunity to rotate him. Again, we're happy that he got through 3 quarters of football really healthy, and he did some good things.
Did you take any positives out of the performances of the young players generally? Anything that stood out for you? You thought was a good thing to come out of?
Yeah, look, I probably don't want to individualise at this point, but I think there's 2 or 3 tonight that showed that they're in contention. And look, they'll get a chance, I guess, next week to sort of go again. I'll throw them all into a group. Ledger, I thought, did some good things. You know, Sipos continues to build in a pre-season. Still got a little bit of work to do. And Cripps, who's been mentioned, was really exposed and put under a lot of pressure tonight. And again, did some positive things. So they're not walk-up starts, but they're thereabouts.
On the right, Scott, can I just ask you what your plans are with Ben McAvoy and support that you get this season?
Yeah, Ben copped a pretty heavy knock early in the game. We would have liked him to play a little bit more game time tonight. But look, he's got a massive workload to carry over the course of a season, so we sort of wrapped him in cotton wool at half-time, which, you know, when you're going up against Natanui and Cox, that puts you under a little bit of duress. But, you know, there's a long-term picture as far as Ben's concerned.